Hi, welcome to my session. I'll be talking about my e-tools to promote engagement and patient engagement and the biopsychosocial existential model of care of the 21st century for the modern patient and for the modern healthcare professional. I'm a psychiatrist working in Canada, and I've founded the website Répit Psychose, which is mostly in French, but being translated in English. And it means recherche et enseignement sur les pratiques innovantes dans le traitement de la psychose, so research and treatment, research and teaching on the innovative practices in the treatment of psychosis. I'm very French, so please bear with me. Mute the sound if you, I heard your ears. I'll try to go very fast in the first part of the presentation on the theory, so we can spend most of the time on the practical part of the presentation. I'll showcase my tools that are free. Okay. So here are the objectives. I'll talk about this responsibility to engage our patient, which I think is a more salient, more important part of the new Hippocratic Oath. I'll talk about my tools, and I'll try to show you how I use them. So quickly about me, I've been working in the field of schizophrenia and early psychosis since the beginning of my practice in the Outaouais region, so Canada's capital region. And over the years, I've witnessed a lot of intervention that tells me coercive intervention being used toward patients with, in my case, schizophrenia and psychosis, chronic psychosis, because of a failed early intervention, because of failed patient engagement early on, that forces us to use coercive measures like treatment orders and police and forced treatment. I've also witnessed a lot of different practices in the treatment, intervention, and patient education. So my idea is, I had the idea to create a tool to homogenize the practices and find ways to better engage my patients. So I would use less coercive measures to help my patients toward their rehabilitation goals. Since actually March 2020, I've been spending most of my care in doing virtual care. So first objective is about talking about the responsibility to engage. The modern patient is used to the on-demand culture, whether they go to McDonald's, Starbucks, or they go buy something. There are a lot of options. If they're not happy, they can bring it back for a full refund. Same thing goes for medicine. Of course, they don't have the full control of whatever they can purchase or choose. Still, they have grown to become more demanding, more critical, and they use much more Dr. Google to double verify everything, which is a good thing too. So they don't believe in the reductionistic view of medicine, which is a pill for every ill. They want a treatment that makes sense, that is holistic, that is maybe less pharmaceutical. However, they may be more confused by so much information and options, and they may not necessarily know what's best for them. So, and they may be more hard to engage for this reason and many other reasons. How about their counterparts, healthcare professionals? They are becoming more and more busy in this very complex care system, and because we understand more about medicine. So healthcare professionals want to make it more easy to engage the patient, to teach them things, to provide personalized treatment and care. However, healthcare professionals are more at risk of becoming impatient because of the higher demands, and themselves may be swamped into too many ideas, too many treatment, too many resources. So having a unifying model or simple set of tools may be quite helpful for them. While they may be more impatient, and they have to remember their Hippocratic oath, which is not to do harm, but they need to go further than that and try to engage their patient. I think we are in an era where it's fairly easy to disengage from a lot of things, including patients. For example, let's say a patient doesn't comply to a treatment routine you suggest them. You may tell yourself, I've did everything. They don't comply. They don't listen to me. That's why they are ill, and I cannot do anything for them. Of course, that may be the ultimate conclusion, but there is a risk for us to jump into that conclusion too early in this very complexified medical system, and we may grow to become more cynical and indifferent. And this attitude goes, of course, against our Hippocratic oath. So we may have that newly underlined responsibility to engage our patient, but this is there's two edges to the sword. So it doesn't only it's not only our responsibility to engage our patient, themselves needs to feel that they need like a change, or they need to engage in their life as well. So if there is a patient that is more easily for us to engage, and that's this one on the left side, who needs something from us. So they are in pain, they are in crisis, they need your help, and this is an opportunity to make a big to help them implement big changes in their life, and not just patch whatever issue they come and see you. However, in medicine, and mostly in my field of treating patients with psychosis, not too late opportunities are fairly rare, meaning that a patient who is in psychosis, there's a big risk that they may have bipolar or schizophrenia, or their temporary psychosis may go into a permanent disease, so they need to implement changes right away. These opportunities, they are quite rare. So how to seize these opportunities? So that's why we'll talk about the tools today. And our capacity to care depends on our ability to engage the person. So my tools are meant to better engage the person in their care. And why do we need to address the fact, why do we talk about opportunities? It's because these opportunities are rare. That's the meaning of the word. So there are not many opportunities to care or to learn. It's often through crisis that we learn. So we often learn to fix things through trauma. Out of adversity comes innovation and intervention. Innovation and invention. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. So, and a quick search on Google for the words hardship and innovation brings us, of course, something about the coronavirus and what we have learned through this crisis. So that's the reason why I created this tool. It's called Psychoeducational Tool on Psychosis. Uh, if this tool was mostly used to help my practice with my patient with psychosis, I've seen that I think that many of its core concept can be used elsewhere in medicine. Um, Over the years, I've learned how to use my own tools. So, so this tool has helped me save a lot of time and has facilitated my communication, engagement, and engagement with my patients, and to provide more personalized care. It's useful in evaluation and follow-up. I've made a quick video to show some of the tools on my website. It's in French. Today's video is in English. So actually, it's my first attempt to do a presentation in English about my tools. If you want to access this specific tool on psychosis, let's say you deal with a patient with psychosis, you can go there on my website and click on EPPV2. But you'll see on my website, I display a lot of tools which are not necessarily related to the treatment of psychosis. And most of these useful tools talks about the integrated patient-centered biopsychosocial existential approach, which is the main topic today. So biopsychosocial. And to make it easy for my patient to remember it, and for their families and my colleagues, because I work in a treatment team with other professionals, I talk about the 4 Ps. The first one is for pharmacotherapy, practical and pragmatic intervention. The second P, third P is psychological intervention. The fourth one is about philosophical and spiritual intervention. And let's go through all the 4 Ps very quickly. First one is on pharmacotherapy. I won't spend time on this. It's obvious. Second P, it's mostly about this image, and I use that all the time. I think all my patients have seen this one, and they know I'm obsessed about this, and I hammer the same ideas all the time. And I think over time, my patients learn what they need to do really. What are their own responsibility toward their own wellness. And so I quiz them often, so to see how much they have learned. And the idea of addressing all these 6 bubbles is for them to adopt healthier hygiene of living. Okay, so it's mostly 4 of the 6 bubbles about activation. So being physically active, socially active, mentally active, so study, learn, go to school, work, use the brain. And the 4th type of activation may be not related to the 3 earlier one, maybe just about leisure, being, playing video games just to distract oneself whenever is not doing well. Okay, of course, about staying away from drugs, sleeping, eating, fixing problems, seeking support. So these bubbles is related to the homework and the responsibility the patient needs to take in order to improve their wellness. Third P is about the attitude and psychological strategies toward wellness. Those are some strategies that I put forth with my patient who have psychosis. Of course, if you deal with other chronic illnesses like diabetes or whatever in somatic medicine, these ideas won't be the same, but some are common because mindfulness is very common psychological intervention nowadays. Art therapy, and distracting oneself, listening to music, changing one's own thought. So I'm not spending too much time on this. This is just to show you the third P. Fourth P is about philosophical and spiritual intervention. And hopefully that makes sense to you. This is a very common idea in nowadays um, wellness literature or popular psychology, self-improvement things. It makes a lot of sense. Patients know about this. We need to know about that. And we need to have easy images to support our teaching to our patient on this matter. That's why I've created this image. It's about being patient, being present in the moment. So this is mindfulness. So you notice I am slowing down my pace while talking because I want to show that these ideas makes immediate effect on me. So I need to know my priorities and give myself time. All people need to do that. We need to cultivate trust toward other people, ourselves, and in the future. Trust in the future means hope. I think at the end of the day, while we are going through hardship, the idea is to overcome that. We need compassion for others, but mostly for ourselves. Feel that we still are lucky to be here, so we may have gratitude toward life, toward the miracle of life. We live in a very complex world. The idea is, I think, to keep it simple, to be more happy and healthier. And all this allows us to be better engaged in life, be more responsible, and better respect and love ourselves. So in summary, first P is about pharmacotherapy. Second and third P is about practical and pragmatic aspects of wellness. And actually, the third P is about psychotherapy or psychological intervention, and the fourth P is about philosophy and spirituality. And why do we need to talk about these four P's of treatment, of the holistic treatment? Is to get there, to transform ourselves from a caterpillar to a butterfly and achieve the chime, CHIME. And what does that mean, chime? I'll tell you right away. It's about, it summarizes the reason why we need to remember this prayer all the time. That there are things we can change in life. In medicine, we try to change a lot of things, but there are a lot of things we cannot change. And that's, again, the fourth P. Fourth P is about philosophy, the philosophical treatment, intervention to ourselves or toward our patient that help them find serenity in things they cannot change. So we try to change things, but if we cannot, then we have no other options than to accept. So the four P's help human beings to be connected, to have hope, to find a sense of identity, meaning, and empowerment. I'm sure these words make sense to you. You can imagine that when I deal with a patient who has schizophrenia, hear voices, they may have a sense that they are ill, so identity of illness. They may not feel empowered. They may have a lot of difficulty understanding what they're experiencing. So those are the subjects I talk quite often with my patients. And so those are goals, but those becomes also means toward the ultimate goal, which is to become free. So when we are hopeful, when we cultivate an idea that we are actually in control of our identity, of who we are, and that we can control our attitude toward things, that gives us power and um, allows us to set ourselves free, because the ultimate goal is to be free. So that's just animation I did in the French version of this presentation. There you go. So in French, aile means aile in French means wings. So that's an easy acronym. So the KIME framework of recovery or of the common universal existential goals is used throughout my tools. Here are some. Here again, that's the modified Maslow pyramid that the patient wants to climb, which are help with the support of their family, healthcare professionals, to become, to find safety, to feel in control, to regain some confidence, and to re-engage in their path toward recovery. So we all want this. Okay. So finally, and likely what you were hoping for mostly in this presentation, is how to use all these images, these ideas with a concrete case. So that's actually a patient I've been following, I've given follow-up since maybe 5 years. I've seen him again. He has been mostly stable for the last 4.5 years, and it's not doing well for since the pandemics and since the last few months. So he's 25. He lives with his parents. He has a clear diagnosis of bipolar. I have had like psychotic breaks in different places in Canada and elsewhere in the world. He's on lithium and antipsychotics. I've been reducing slowly his medication over the years because he wants that, and it's fair. You know, he wants to have a different identity and feel more in control. So I'm talking about that KIME framework again. So I was feeling, you know, fairly safe by doing that with him very, very, very slowly. However, he has been showing signs of hypomania in the last few months because of the unrelenting COVID situation and the Canadian election. This is a subject of a big stressor for him that relates to some of his paranoid ideas that he may have had for a long, long time, and it's being exacerbated by the election, the recent election. So he was almost hospitalized this summer, and he keeps having these paranoid ideas that are not too bizarre, that are not too intense, but he keeps sending emails to many officials, to the government, to the president of China, to Canada, maybe United States, trying to talk to Joe Biden likely. I've changed his medication a couple of times. I've prescribed him sick leave. He's back to work since last week, 2 days, 2 days of work, and I've given him follow-up every 2 or 3 weeks. So so this is a reason why you never want to use your cell phone or give your phone number to a patient. Somehow he has mine. I keep telling him not to use, not to call me, not to text me, but he's in hypomania. So I guess he has like an excuse. So he sent me a text about what kind of phone plan he should use. And his mother is not much better. Somehow she got my phone number too, and maybe she's the one who gave my patient my phone number, maybe, I don't know. So she also texts me late at night telling me that her son is not doing well, not sleeping, sending emails and SMS to everybody. Wow. So so how do I use this biopsychosocial responsibility framework from a patient. So that's a biopsychosocial existential prescription. I'll show you. So I reassessed him yesterday, actually. He's he's back to work, working in a store, doing okay from what he says, but he keeps asking me about the reduction of his medication. He keeps talking about the government. He has paranoid ideation. And whenever I ask him what he needs to do to improve his situation, because he's far from being fully stable, he keeps saying like 4 or 5 times, I need to do more exercise. And this is a patient I've been using these tools for many years. He knows my recorded speech on the matter of what he needs to do. Okay, but I'm not giving up. This is part of my Hippocratic oath. So this is the balance treatment, biopsychosocial treatment. I tell him, okay, how do you want to move from this to this? So what do you need to do? So this is a pie chart. The portion of the treatment is much reduced. So you have to work elsewhere. So and the orange part is, in my opinion, something you need to work more on. It's about all the psychological and philosophical attitude toward wellness, and keep working on your life hygiene, exercising, eating well. Okay, so that makes me use again this image. So this become a prescription. So these bubbles here, when you use my app, they can be zoom in, zoom out, actually enlarge or reduce. You can draw on it, underline things with a color marker digitally, and send that to the patient. Okay, so he does enough exercising. That's good. I'm very happy for him. But he's quite isolated. He's very focused on studying. But no. Maybe he can try to play games to change his mind a little bit, to add some diversity to his daily activities, and be more responsible. So what do I mean by be more responsible? Well, he's thinking about China, Canada, Francophone, things like that. And so this is part of his delusion or preoccupation, psychotic preoccupation. And I want him to focus on him first. So Mr. Z first, just like America first. Sure, that's a good idea. So I put these ideas in this biopsychosocial existential prescription. Again, you can go on that website and use directly on my website. It's prescription, and this image can be printed. So there's medication. We talk about some things he should focus on psychologically. I remind him about his current support, and things he have been doing well. I double underline it. Good. And of course, he's not sleeping much. He should sleep much better. And it's not only about medication, it's about his own will too, because he wants to send a lot of emails at night, because he's not thinking about himself first, thinking about China, Canada, whatever. So I'm not addressing too much of these philosophical aspect of his treatment with him, because he's too far from this type of intervention, because he needs to be stabilized first. So I'll talk about myself. So what is my current situation on my connectedness, my identity, my hope, my sense of meaning, and my feeling of empowerment? So actually, I don't feel I connect that much with people, maybe through presentation, but not live, because I've been focusing too much on, I don't know, I guess work, because of the pandemics, because of a lot of things. Because maybe I want to self-achieve things, because I want to have like a strong identity, maybe. Okay. I don't feel so much empowered in my life, actually. Okay. I feel often overwhelmed by a lot of things, including work and personal life. But I find a lot of meaning and I have a lot of hope. So that's my current existential situation. And these five ideas can be displayed with this tool. Okay. So how can that be translated into a philosophical intervention? So remember these five bubbles. That seems to make sense. Actually, it makes a lot of sense for myself. So if you use that tool, you can reduce these bubbles, and it becomes a prescription, philosophical prescription. In this case, a self-prescription. I think I'm fairly good in being in the moment. I think I have fairly enough. Actually, I don't think I have enough compassion. I need to have more compassion for myself, likely. I don't think I keep things simple. So this should be bigger. I should keep things. I should strive toward making things more simple. Although I'm working very hard on that bubble. Actually, I engage fairly well in life, but I don't give myself enough time. I agree. So this is a big bubble, and seeing this reminds me that okay, I should do something, and to underline and to remind me about this, maybe I should use some posters, and those are another app you can use. Actually, I have many apps that can help make all sorts of things easily and save in a file that I can print or send to an email or send in an SMS to somebody. So some reminders for myself, I cannot make everyone happy. Okay, so that's a way for me to be less guilty about a lot of things. And another way to do it is to remind myself that I just try to do my best. I'm not Superman. I'm just doing my best. So I'll quickly show you two of my websites. One is in French, the other one is in English. I've been working on that with some medical students, also quite interested in wellness of medical students and physicians. So my wellnessfirst.ca or Mon Bien-être Avant in French, in case you are interested. And how do we use these tools during virtual care? So before the pandemic, I was using paper form of these images. So I would actually print it and write in my very difficult to understand handwriting and hand that to my patients and use my markers all the time. As you see here, we use cannabis because in Canada it's legalized. And here, physical activation. In this case, I wrote more walking for that patient. I don't remember who. And after March 2020, that's the beginning of the era of virtual care. I've learned to use Google Jamboard, which is electronic paper, because I'm from home, the patient is at their home, and I want to underline some ideas. I want them to have homework, to constantly be responsible for their own wellness. So there are many options there, but I like Google because they're a very simple, free way to use their electronic paper. So images, words, ideas I use with my patient. I try to copy and paste it directly on this type of paper that I share with my patient. Okay. So these images can be pasted on their own Jamboard too. Okay, so I give different names to the chambers too, so I can remember what was the treatment is uh, my different patients' treatment plan. Okay, see there are different names here. Okay, so I've given a presentation on this topic actually last year, likely at the same moment. So that the presentation is up, however, in French. If you are interested, here's the link. So I'll go very quickly by showing you how to access these images I've shown you in my presentation. So I'll just pause my presentation now. So let's access my website. So let's go on REPIT, REPIT, psychose in French, .org. That brings you here. So quickly, I want to show you, oh, you can have access to the English version of the website. It's being translated. So please forgive us if not everything has been translated yet. So you see the pie chart here. Okay, I increased the zoom of my website to show you better, but that can the sliding like tools here allows you to play with the proportion of that pie chart of the biopsychosocial existential treatment. Okay, and this is the prescription. So you can change the name of the patient. Mr. Z, October 19, 2021. You can work on whatever, okay, here. And print it right away if you are with your patient. Okay, and put the, and this mode looks better. Or you can save it as a file. Should work. Sorry, it's slightly slow, so I won't show you that. I'll just see. So there's a screen popping, telling you where to save the file. Okay. So that's the. Okay. What else I want? So this is another image I've shown you. So the tools is set on drawing here. By the way, this is in French, but I've translated them in English already. I just need to post that on my website. It should come in the next few months. If you email me, you absolutely want to use it right away, I'll give you the link. So first thing I do is remove this tool so I can play around with the size of these bubbles to create a non-pharmacological treatment plan with my patients. I can add notes. More walking. Okay. I can increase the size of it, put it here, draw it. Okay. This is very important, very important. Okay, let's say I want to remove it. I don't like this. I can remove it, and here you go. So, and again, I can save it, print it. You'll see it will work. Okay, so this is show very well. Maybe in this mode, here you go. So it fits in one page. You can record it in your electronic health record. Keep I don't know, a folder for your patient on your computer. Whatever. Okay, so there are many apps here. Okay, but I'll let you go through them if you wish. In case you are treating a patient with psychosis, you can go under PPV2, and those are the tools specific on COVID-19, that's the password, on the treatment of psychosis. Okay, so if you're not in mental health, so you won't be using this one likely, but the other tools about the biopsychosocial treatment, I think is fairly useful. These PPV2 web apps, so the other ideas here, this is to talk about the stress diathesis model. So genes plus stress can cause a disease, in this case psychosis. Okay, so we can go through my tools. So patients are worried about all sorts of things, we can write it down here, or other mental health professional can do this type of work with the patient, save it so they can have a framework on what they can work with the patient later on. Okay, so you can plot on a chart here what have been their progression over the years. Are they improving, getting better? It looks like a stock market chart. Okay, maybe there is something coming soon. Here you go. So and you can play with the images, print that. Okay. Oh, I think I've shown you that the kind framework in French, I call that aile, which means wings. So we can play with that as well and create an image of the current situation or of the treatment the person needs to work on. Okay, so they can fly straight. Here you go. Okay. That is another image I've shown you, so you can play around with the size of the bubbles, add notes. Okay, or draw it. You need to work on this. I need to keep things more simple. I agree. Okay. So many tools here, most of them in French, being translated in English. How about new apps? Well, it's listed here. I don't give access to everything. I spent a lot of time, okay, building them, and I like to give presentations, so I exchange presentations with access to some of my tools. Okay, so if you're interested, you can scroll down and see what's available there. I may have been hypomanic for many years, building a lot of tools. Though some of the some skills I find useful is this. You can change the title of the skill also. Okay, it says cognitive pain. Okay, so this is a scale from 1 to 10. If you look closely, there is like these numbers here. Okay, so I've lost the sliding part of it, so I just refresh it and I can find again. And with a patient at distance, we can decide what kind of what's their numerical assessment of their illness, of their wellness, of whatever. Okay, so other scales here. Okay, you can change the name. You can save it, print it. Okay, here you go. Okay, that's one of the last tool I've created. What else I wanted to show you is the Jamboard. So on the website, when you click on the link, actually on my presentation, if you click on the link, it brings you here. This is just a sample Jamboard. Let's say I work on this poster of my patient. That was then. This is now. Get over it. It's done. Okay, you have the responsibility to be in the moment. Okay, let's say I don't want to save the picture. I just want to do a quick screen cap. So I did a screen cap, and I can easily go here on the Jamboard of that patient that I will call Mr. Z. Okay, paste it here, Control V, add a note, and I can share that with the patient. Okay, so we work on the same piece of electronic paper all the time. Okay, so that's the app for Mr. Z. Mr. There you go, that's me, Mr. Tin, Mr. T. Okay, Mr. T first. Okay, so I'll pause that part of that presentation, of my website presentation, of my tool presentation, and go back to the main presentation. So I just show you some of future tools from repeatpsychose.org. Hopefully I didn't go too fast, and but if I did, you can just pause the video and just go check the website. Be mindful that the full translation of the website is not done yet, not fully done. It will be in the next, let's say, few months. Next few months. Okay. In conclusion. So I've been very quick with the first part of the presentation. I think if you are interested in my presentation in in the title, you may be already sold by the idea of the importance of personalized care to engage our patients, so so we have less work to do with them. If they work about they spend more effort, time, they invest in their wellness, then they need less support, and that's the ultimate goal. What I tell my patients is I want them to become their own doctor, and I'm going through medical school with them so they can be treating, they can become the best doctor for themselves, the best health care provider for themselves. There are simple ways to present the biopsychosocial existential treatment. Sorry, this is a typo. It's not 4 Ps. It's not 5 Ps. It's 4 Ps. Okay. That way of presenting the holistic treatment is a not coercive way, and it invites a person to collaborate. Firstly, in his own care. It allows also teamwork, because if you use the same images, we have the same redundant vocabulary and ideas to foster recovery. These images and this model reminds the patient that this is an active work. To be well needs work, needs commitment, needs effort. It's not only an external intervention from the doctor, the psychiatrist, the psychologist, the social worker, or the family. They themselves need to be responsible, and that's the new Hippocratic oath, part of the oath, I believe, in this era. This model allows negotiation. As you're seeing the pie chart, the different portion of that pie chart can be increase, reduce. Most of my patient wants to have less medication. So that brings me all the time to that pie chart and tell them, sure, I want that too. Please tell me, what will you do to improve your health and your strength and your resiliency towards stress? So we need to use less medication to help you because medication can be a crutch too. I've talked to you about the KIND framework. This is this, and this is the underlying idea of all our interventions. And the goal is for them to be free, become that free butterfly, but they need to transform. In order to transform, they need to work on the biopsychosocial existential treatment, integrated treatment. So they grow strong enough to undergo their metamorphosis and fly. And I think there are some tools I've created that may be useful for you, whether you are in the field of psychiatry, treatment of psychosis, mental health, or in family medicine, trying um, to serve the modern patient with modern ideas that must be non-reductionistic. There's no pill for every ill. There's a lot of intervention. Everything needs to be integrated, and uh, and that gives hope to patients and to yourself too. And if you want to contact me, here's my email. I'm obsessed with website and sharing ideas. So here are many of them. Most of them are in French, of course. So thank you very much for your interest and have a good and a good conference.